All right, football fans out there, you're welcome to yet another installment of the Football Gazette podcast. Of course, this is where we take you through the best analysis of stories emanating from the ever exciting, scintillating, and controversial world of football. We're back in the year 2024 once more. All right, over the past weekend, the highly anticipated 34th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations took center stage. We've seen some fantastic games go down right there in Cote d'Ivoire. Basically, we will be talking about the one that involved Nigeria's Super Eagles and the Thunder of Equatorial Guinea. Well, that's kind of funny because on paper it looks as though the Super Eagles were going to run riot, but ended 1-1. Now we're going to be talking about what the Super Eagles have got to take into today's fixture against host Ivory Coast. I mean, that's going to be a very important one. It's a make or match fixture for the Super Eagles. Anything short of victory or avoiding defeat against the host today, then it will spell doom for their progression starters.
Well, we saw what happened in the first match between, Cote d'Ivoire, the host nation. They won convincingly, 2-0. It ended right there. And for Nigeria as well, we saw what happened against Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, in which it ended in a 1-1 draw. So for today's fixture, it's going to be a very difficult one. Fofana scored the first goal for Cote d'Ivoire, and Osimhen scored the first goal for Nigeria.
What I want us to talk about now. The fact that we've always hammered on this.
Yeah.
On paper, it looks as though no side on the African continent should come close to the Super Eagles of Nigeria, even based on teams valuable and all. Of course, they came into this competition being the most valuable team right there in Cote d'Ivoire. On paper, it looks as though no team at all should come close to them, considering the teams these players plays under the best coaches of the world. They train with the best facilities compared to their Equatorial Guinea counterpart, the Guinea-Bissau counterpart. I mean, having the Super Eagles struggle against this sort of opponents now puts you in a state of confusion that what exactly is wrong with this team. You know what? I was actually arguing with a friend.
Yeah.
Even without a manager.
Yeah.
Of course, Jose Pizarro has his own fault. His in-game management needs to be questioned. Of course, that's questionable anytime, any day. But then you begin to wonder, on a normal day, these names the Super Eagles can boast of on their list, even without a coach, they should be able to do justice to some games.
Even this is what we have always talked about in recent times, that Nigerian squad, the Super Eagles squad, they have enough talent to make a difference at any point in time. Look at the way they usually show up for their club sides right there in Europe where they play. But when they come home to play for their team, the reverse is always the case for them.
Honestly, I feel it was a slap on the Super Eagles' face to concede the first goal.
The most valuable team in the Afcon competition now is, don't let me say they are struggling, because we never can tell what's going to happen today in their fixtures against the host nation. But then, if peradventure they fall short and they don't grab a win today, it's going to be very disappointing.
But then, do you feel, with what you saw against Equatorial Guinea, do you feel they stand a chance to take something out of this game against the host?
See, the game of football is all about taking chances. Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea, yes, Equatorial Guinea they both have their fair share of chances there in the game. But then, football, you have to take your chances in games like this. Victor Osimhen, I was really disappointed by his performance, honestly speaking. I do like the fact that yes, he was able to grab the equalizer.
You see, I feel there's no point going down first before you got the equalizer. See, Zaidu Sanusi missed a couple of chances. Victor Osimhen as well. So what was the point going down? Then under seconds, you had to equalize. I mean, that was no point.
Well, I think the first goal they conceded right there, I think it was miscommunication that caused that goal, because there were two Nigerian players in front of the ball. I don't know. They should have communicated with themselves for someone to attack the ball and even clear it off their box. But then they didn't do that, and they capitalized on that error and they scored. And they left the keeper with no chance at all to even save the ball. But then let's hope that does not repeat itself. They can actually correct that with the time they have. I believe they should have corrected that, because going into the game today, Cote d'Ivoire can boost up a lot of stars in their team
I
as
tell
well.
you.
They have a couple of players they can actually boost up. But then let's see how this pans out today.
Well, regardless of the abysmal and catastrophic performance we saw from the Super Eagles, there was still a little bit of positive, and that's talking about the midfield prospect in Yusuf Hassan. I mean, you saw this particular guy, Alassane Yusuf, it was right there in the middle of the park,
Yeah,
dictating play
yeah.
before that injury. I mean, that's another thing that might actually mar the Super Eagles' chances in Cote d'Ivoire.
Well,
Injuries to key
well, I
players.
think that was not actually injury because he actually corrected that during an interview after the match, saying it was just a cramp
Hmm.
that led to that.
A cramp that can
Yeah,
deteriorate into something else.
maybe not.
Well,
But
let's
then
hope.
his performance was fantastic. I would say he's our Nigerian Kante. He's everywhere on the pitch.
But you're already hyping him, na Nigeria Kante.
trust me,
Okay.
he really gave his best.
Okay.
He really gave his best on the pitch, and football fans can, Nigerian who watched the match can actually attest to that. Yusuf gave his best on the pitch.
All right, football fans out there, swipe up the comment section and drop your prediction as we get that game to go on later tonight between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and host Ivory Coast. Of course, it's going to be a battle at the survival of the fittest. Let's see what the outcome of that one to be. Well, elsewhere, in the course of the last weekend as well, we saw Kevin De Bruyne coming back from injury to place level and surpass Frank Lampard in the all-time assist given in the Premier League. I mean, a massive, massive feat from the Belgian. Well, you saw Kevin De Bruyne over the weekend.
Yeah,
At the
fantastic
point,
player.
Manchester City looks as though they were going to be suffering this defeat from Newcastle, but
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it turned the game on its head, and 3 goals to 2, it ended in favor of Manchester City.
Yeah.
Big kudos to Kevin De Bruyne. This is a sort of what he's capable of doing anytime, any day.
Anytime, any day. That brings me to the fact that Pep Guardiola actually acknowledged the talent in this player. He said during his press conference, saying what happened in that match was not even tactics. It was talent of a certain individual player, Kevin De Bruyne, who actually stand out. Scored a goal and provided another for his teammates to win the match. That was fantastic, honestly speaking.
So I think this conversation should come up between the prime Kevin De Bruyne, Kevin De Bruyne and prime Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
Who cuts it? I mean, regardless of the fact that Kevin De Bruyne have actually surpassed Frank Lampard now in the all-time assist giver in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So who cuts it for you? Prime Frank Lampard and Kevin De Bruyne.
Well,
But that's really massive.
I've seen a lot of discussion about that in the past few days, and I would say Frank Lampard might not have had the best of coaching career, but don't disrespect the fact that Frank Lampard in his prime was a fantastic player anytime, any day. Frank Lampard competed against the likes of Iniesta, Xavi, Steven Gerrard, Paul Scholes, many more during his time. Who is Kevin De Bruyne? Who is competing with Kevin De Bruyne? Martin Odegaard, Bruno Fernandes. That is laughable because a lot of opposition fans, let me say, will want to bring a disrespect to Frank Lampard's name, but I don't agree with that. Fine, Frank Lampard during his own time was fantastic. Kevin De Bruyne in his own time presently is doing so well as a very creative midfielder. Trust me, there's no need. If Kevin De Bruyne had come in the time of Frank Lampard and is doing this same thing, then we would have said yes, Frank is much better than Frank Lampard. Do you agree with that? But then I don't see who is even meeting Kevin De Bruyne criteria right at this point in time in the league so far. So obviously, he's a top-notch midfielder who likes to score and provide assists. His eye is so sharp and so fantastic. But then Frank Lampard in his own time was very, very, very
superb.
Superb.
And on another level.
Yeah.
Well, that's him tipping Frank Lampard, prime Frank Lampard over Kevin De Bruyne. Of course, I know Manchester United fans would still come for you and tell you need to give Bruno Fernandes his flowers. All right, football friends out there, that will be to be able to take on today's installment of the Football Gazette podcast. Until some other times, where we'll make a grand return on your screen. Do stay good and safe. Peace out.